Have you ever noticed you're always daydreaming about the same thing? People admire you. Everyone wants to talk to you. You're confident, funny, interesting. It's a simple fantasy. Psychologists say these little fantasies can reveal a lot about how your mind sees yourself and the person you believe you could become. One reason people daydream about being loved by everyone is something psychologists call the future self projection. In the imagination, you're not just loved. You're also confident, charismatic, attractive, successful. In other words, you're imagining the version of yourself you believe you could become. That imagined crowd cheering for you? Sometimes it's not really about the crowd. It's about the version of you standing in the center. Your brain is rehearsing a life where you finally feel comfortable in your own skin. So the daydream isn't just escapism. It's a glimpse of who you secretly want to grow into. There's another layer to this. Most people who imagine being admired also spend a lot of time observing others. They notice who gets attention, who people laugh with, who everyone gravitates toward, and slowly a quiet comparison forms. Why them? Why not me? But instead of asking it out loud, the mind answers privately. It builds a scene where the roles are reversed, where you're the one people gather around, not out of arrogance, but out of a quiet hunger to feel valued. When you imagine people admiring you, your brain releases small amounts of dopamine, the same chemical involved in rewards and motivation. That's why the fantasy feels good. Your brain doesn't fully separate imagination from reality. So when you picture applause, admiration, attention, your brain treats it like a tiny emotional reward. It's almost like emotional comfort food. For a moment, the brain says, "See, you matter." But there's a catch. If the mind starts relying on that imagined validation too much, reality can feel dull in comparison. Here's the surprising part. People who imagine these scenes often have very active emotional awareness. But the imagination shows something important. Deep down, they don't want isolation. They want connection, real connection. The daydream isn't about fame. It's about finally feeling accepted without trying so hard. So if you've ever sat quietly somewhere, while your mind created a scene where everyone admired you, it might not mean you're delusional. It might just mean your mind is trying to remind you of something. That somewhere inside you, there's a version of you that feels confident, seen, and valued. And the real goal isn't being admired by everyone. It's becoming someone who doesn't need to imagine that scene anymore, because they've built that confidence in the real world.